Warning, this video may contain spoilers for late parts in the game. If you plan on playing this at some point, turn back now. You have been warned. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is another one of my childhood favorite games. I touched upon the fact that the first time I played through the game, I ended up using cheats to unlock the final level and beat the game. But through a recently streamed playthrough, I finally 100%ed it, albeit using a cheat to locate the last couple of opals in order to 100%, which didn't work, so I turned it off and ended up finding the ones I needed anyway, which I'm super proud of. Without further ado, let's review one of my childhood favorites. This is a pretty simple game to get the hang of. There are a multitude of enemies, some of which need different things done to defeat them. Your main forms of attack are using 2 boomerangs or biting with your strong Tasmanian teeth. Over your time playing the game, you will receive 3 elemental boomerangs, that being fire, ice, and thunder, which do exactly what it says on the box. These elemental rangs also have extra uses than to just fight enemies, fire being able to melt ice being able to create ice platforms on water, and thunder being able to power generators. There are also extra rangs you can get the more thunder eggs you collect, with collecting them all giving you the boomerang that blows everything up in a small but rather large radius. Some levels will have you swimming through them, while you will be running, jumping, and floating through use of your boomerangs to give a bit of airtime through the levels. In the levels, there are a couple kind of collectibles, opals, which is money, but not used as money in this game, there being 300 per level. Lost bilbies, which are young animals that are indeed lost. Artwork, being actual game artwork that you can view on the title screen. Thunder eggs, only some of which are necessary to advance the game, but you get them through side missions or just running through the level. And in the overworld, you have rainbow shells. Somewhere in the southern rivers, our main character, Ty, the last of the Tasmanian Tigers, is running around and playing with a bilby friend when he stumbles into an underground cave in which he encounters Nandu Gili, the leader and Bunyip elder of the Bunyip race. He tells Ty the truth of why he is the last of his kind, stating that a dictator named Boss Cass fought Ty's family in order to obtain 5 mystical talismans. During the fight, he managed to trap them in a location called the Dreamtime, using the talismans, but not before one of the tigers was able to throw his boomerang, dislodging the talismans from their pedestal as he was teleported away, leaving the young Ty orphaned. He also informs Ty Boss Cass is starting up his shenanigans again and needs to find the lost talisman scattered throughout the world before Cass does, promising that Ty will be able to rescue his family in the process. Ty's friend Maury introduces him to a scientist named Julius, who made a transporter that will allow Ty to go to the location of the talisman. But in order to power the machine, he must collect a power source in the outback called Thunder Eggs. After gaining enough Thunder Eggs, Julius' machine finds the exact location of one of the talismans, teleporting Ty to an enclosed area with a nasty-looking bull who, upon defeat, coughs up the talisman. Ty continues onward, going to the next set of portals. Julius' machine cooked up, collecting more Thunder Eggs before being teleported to an enclosed piece of ocean, needing to fight a shark with robotic parts named Crikey. After defeating it and actually freeing it from its robotic pieces, you receive another talisman. The next area has the same process, collecting Thunder Eggs, although in one of the places Ty gets teleported to, he ends up fighting another Tasmanian tiger named Sly, defeating him and sending him back to Boss Cass. After Ty is teleported to a snowy enclosure with a giant metal yeti, who upon its defeat turns out to be actually controlled by a dinosaur named Fluffy. Either way, Ty receives his 3rd talisman. His next course of action is to invade Cass's fortress for the remaining 2 talismans. You fight a mini-boss named Shadow the Ghost Bat, who upon defeat drops a talisman, leaving Ty with one final one to collect. As he makes his way through the final parts of Cass's base, he encounters Sly one final time, who slips and almost falls in lava, Ty saving him. Sly, not believing that Ty would save him because of what Boss Cass had told him, runs off in surprise. Finally, Tai comes face to face with Taz in a giant mech suit that he is going to use to crush Southern Rivers. At the end, Sly comes and gives you his Doomerang, which is essentially a guided missile-style boomerang that you use to destroy the core of the mech, saving Southern Rivers and getting the last talisman, bringing his family back as the Bunyip Elder places the talismans back in their place and opening the Dream Time. Every second of this game is a joy to play through. Between the fantastic soundtrack and the spot-on gameplay, the story is interesting as well as the exploration of levels being pretty interactive, with small and simple puzzles scattered throughout. I normally don't really like collectathon games due to the fact that the stories don't really interest me, but this game's entire vibe really draws me in, actually interesting me enough to actually 100% the game. Technically more than 100%, as the Switch version added both bonus worlds, that one was exclusive to the GameCube and the other was exclusive to the PS2 version. I also like the fact that many bosses need actual thought to beat. I don't have many cons for this game, just two minor ones that don't really impede my enjoyment that much. One being that there are a lot of collectibles, leading you to missing some on your way through the levels. The most time extra I spent in a level looking for the last couple of things was like an hour and a half, but most levels are generally pretty simple to find everything. The second being how small the overworld is, with there also being not much to do either, but you aren't usually in the overworld for long anyway. There are a lot of extras in this game, with 4 types of things to collect in all the levels, that being Thunder Eggs, Artwork, Opals, and Lost Bilbies. There's also 2 bonus worlds, meaning that you're going to need to take a bit of time to 100% complete this game. Although I said the overworld is a little empty, it is worth exploring as you'll find rainbow shells scattered throughout, unlocking something pretty worth it, especially if you're trying hardcore mode, which is a mode that if you run out of lives, it's game over and the game deletes your save. Don't know if I'm cut out for that, but maybe one day. This is another outstanding recommendation for this game. I love it to death, no matter how many times I died or missed a platform. It's a really cool experience, and this being only the first game in the series, with the other 2 being objectively, in my opinion, better, expanding upon a lot that this game started, it still feels really good to play even after all these years. As always, hope you enjoyed, and see you next video.